what I will do now is just introduce our first speakers. So they're from a couple of local government clients. So we've got Omni from Bayside, and we've got Mallory from Burundara, who are here to talk about their occupational violence and aggression statewide behaviour campaign.
Thank you so much, and thank you to EML for having Omi and I here today to talk about the statewide behaviour change campaign that we're leading to combat occupational violence and aggression. So just to set the scene, I want to start with a definition of occupational violence and aggression, or OVA. OVA is defined by WorkSafe as a situation when a person is abused, threatened or assaulted in circumstances related to their work, and it can come from anywhere: clients, customers, in the public, and even co-workers. And as you're probably aware, since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen a really concerning escalation in occupational violence and aggression, and also in public sentiment towards local government as well. And I think Yarra Ranges Council alone saw a 500% increase in occupational violence and aggression incidents. And as you probably can appreciate, this is not an issue which is sort of unique to any single council, geographical area, or even industry. And in response, we've seen a lot of councils develop some occupational violence and aggression campaigns locally to sort of address these important messages to their local communities and also to their staff. And through discussions in our OHS network, we felt that it was necessary to take this further and to put our campaigns together and elevate it to a statewide level. And this would actually allow us to provide a consistent and impactful message across the state, whilst also benefiting those councils who haven't yet had the time or the resources developed for such a campaign. So, what does it entail? The crux of the campaign is to humanise who we are as council to our community. So research shows that when you get to know someone, you're less likely to abuse them or treat them with disrespect. And we hope that this will translate into communities starting to see the person behind the uniform and interacting with respect to our staff. We know that a lot of residents see us also as organisations that just do roads, rates and rubbish, and they don't truly understand the complexity of the political environment in which we operate. By educating the public on the vast array of services that council offer, we hope to shift outdated public perceptions of council workers and replace them with a greater understanding and appreciation of the challenging environment in which we work and all the many competing priorities that come along with that. Also, because we know that OVA is underreported, we want to run an internal campaign which will involve case studies to educate our staff that OVA is not just part of the job. We often hear about staff persisting in disrespectful interactions for far longer than they should. So we want to be able to empower them to either identify when to seek assistance or when to politely withdraw from such interactions. So we started this process by sending out an expression of interest to our local government OHS network to see how many other councils would be interested in coming together and using our power in numbers to effect change. As shown on the screen, we've had 22 councils indicate they would like to become involved. And this actually represents almost 30% of all Victorian councils and is a really, really great start. And it also demonstrates to us that this is an issue that the sector has a genuine interest in. The council group that we actually sent the expression of interest out to doesn't incorporate all councils. So if you can't see your council's logo there on the screen, we really encourage you to reach out to either Omi or myself and to get involved. And we'll have our contact details on these slides, which will be shared with you. And if you're wondering what involvement actually looks like, we arrange periodic meetings via Teams with the goal of consulting on ideas and discussing how we can leverage off our collective strengths to bring together a coordinated campaign. Alternatively, you can also just provide in-principle support. So if you don't want to be involved in the actual bringing together of the campaign, but you like the idea and you want to support it, your council can also do that. So I really encourage you to think about getting involved if your council isn't already, and I'll hand over to Omi.
Thank you so much, Mallory. I'm going to go a little bit off script. Who is representing a regional council today? Hands wide, come on. There we go. And Metropolitan? The rest? Beautiful. Okay, so regionals, are you experiencing OVA as a primary risk area in your councils, in your areas? I'm getting some, yeah? No? So occupational violence and aggression is not as prevalent in regionals? Yeah, we got one yes? Yeah. Okay, and that came off the back of one of our OVA working group members withdraw from the group because they're like, we're actually not seeing a lot of the OVA in our regional areas. I'm wondering what we can learn from our regionals. Why is it that we may not see? We are in some, but perhaps there is some lessons our regionals can be teaching us in terms of why we might be getting more in our municipalities or our metropolitans. So for those who are in Metro, are you, please, hands high. I know it's the morning. I know coffees have only just been consumed, but are you experiencing OVA in the metropolitans? Yeah. So by and large, that's where we're seeing it. Okay, so from the power in numbers to the power in partners. We've partnered with DXC. Those of you who came to the mental health seminar that we had in November, we have their in-principle support, and EML in the house. Thank you. We're also partnering with EML. Importantly, we've also met with WorkSafe. So Mallory and I met with 2 of the psychosocial health unit representatives and their comms team, and we've got a really good understanding from their perspective as to how we could shape this proposal and have the WorkSafe branding underpinning this piece. We've also spoken to MAV, but thanks to the power of partners, Skip and I have just had a conversation, and there's one of the board members that is a councillor for Kingston. So we're going to be having a conversation with that councillor very soon to see if we can get in front of the MAV board. David Clark, the chair of the MAV board, has written about OVA in the public media. He's also approached the Victorian State Government to try and get more ministerial support. So this space has a lot of energy. We're doing the hard work, and we're hoping that if your logo was not up on the board, you'll want to join us in that hard work as well. But we're not the only ones that have done this. So Mallory and I did quite a bit of research, and we found that in the New South Wales region, about 5 councils in the Hunter area came together and did a similar campaign. We're in conversation with them about the outcomes and the measures of that campaign. The public transport community has also done a similar campaign. You've probably seen it on the Woolworths T-shirts. I'm a mother, I'm a brother, I'm a sister. So this humanising ourselves to the public is not new, but unfortunately council workers seem to have a bit of a lazy council worker kind of branding still attached to them. So we're really looking to shift that dial. New Zealand as well, across the ditch, have done some really powerful work with their videos. So up on your screen, if you're wanting to see those videos, you can QR code, or when we send the slides out at the end, you can have a look at the work that they've done as well. So our next steps, we want to model what's worked from who has already done it, which is why we're continuing those conversations. We want to continue to promote the campaign because we know that when we land in front of the MAV chair, when we land in front of the minister, they're going to want to see most of the sector behind this. We want to make sure that our senior leaders and our CEOs understand the power of what we're doing as well. We want this to be a top-down approach just as much as a bottom-up approach. Data, statistics and stories. So if you've got particularly powerful OVA stories that you can share with us to add to that information seeking, we would love to know them. And we're also going to start to partner with our internal comms group to develop up some concept plans. What do the posters look like? What could the videos look like? Let's draw from that really amazing set of strengths and skills we've got within council teams. So that's us, that's our campaign. We'd love you to join. Thanks so much for your attention, everyone.
It's really important as a council group if you can get behind that campaign. We've been looking at the data and looking at how we can better identify OVA incidents. WorkSafe data is very limited, so it's easy for us to identify the incidents that result in a mental injury. Not as easy as if an incident has resulted in a broken arm or a bruised face. So we take a lot of time to try to identify and highlight how big the problem is, but it's not as obvious for us. So, and a lot of them don't end up in a workers' comp claim as well. So something to really think about how you can support it and provide that input and that data to that campaign.